Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's Busy. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's Busy. It's episode 569. And today is the first day back to school for many people out there in the world. I know, especially in the United States, a lot of public schools go back and parochial schools go back this day, the 2nd of September, 2025. And today's podcast is all about change. And for those of you guys that are loyal listeners, you know that last week was really hard. It hasn't even been a week since Penelope went to heaven, and it's been challenging. That's for sure. It's been a huge change. And it's like you look around and you're like, is she there? Is she there? Is she there? Is she there? My daughter was actually in Maine this weekend, and she said, Mom, I just saw a 2-year-old golden doodle and it reminded me of Penelope. And she said, I went over and I said hi, and his name was Charlie. And she said it felt like Penelope was back saying hi to her. And it's just, it's change, guys. It's change. And to change is big. It's small. It's messy. It's beautiful. Just like the first day of school. I read a book that hit me really hard. Family changes like continents, and we've got to hold on for the ride. And that's from Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. I don't know if you guys know, I've been reading like all of Kristen Hanna's books this summer. I just love them. I just get so deep into them, and then I cry and I laugh and all these crazy things that happen when I'm reading her books. And I use my Kindle because it actually helps me, because if there's a word I don't understand, I can press, oh my gosh, what is the definition of this word? And I can highlight things that I really that hit home for me. And yesterday when I was reading her book, and they were talking about, she was an empty nester, like a lot of us get to, and a lot of us are in right now. And when we get to this place, everything changes. Like we chase our kids. It's like we use our phone as like, where am I going to find them? And being in this place of change. You might be dropping your kids off for kindergarten. You might be dropping your kids off for senior year and everything in between. And it's change, right? It's change. You remember the days, at least for me, I remember the days that I would go to the beach and my kids couldn't carry anything. And I'd be carrying all this stuff weighted down, right? You've got a wagon and it's filled with all this stuff. And at least for me, I would be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till the day that they carry their own stuff. And then the day comes, and not only do they carry their own stuff, they barely call you. And you're like, okay, I got to be okay with this. And, you know, our life is constantly in movement. You know, it's like Penelope. I'm just going to use Penelope as another example of the change. It's like you have this dog or this cat in your life, an animal, a pet in your life for this long period of time. Like for me, it was almost 15 years. And then they get sick, and you take them to the doctor, the vet, and they say, you know what, this is it. We've got to put them out of their misery. And they give them a shot, and there they go. And it's so quick, at least for me. I didn't know that she had been sick for a long time. I mean, obviously she was old, and that was, we all are going to die one day, but it happened so quickly, the change. And you come back and the dog bowls are there and the toys are there. And if you're dropping your kids off for the first day of full day school, let's say, and you normally have them sitting there you have to make sure they're taking their naps, and you have to make sure that, that if you're working, you have to do the work like in between their nap time, and you want to take a shower and you're like, okay, they're napping. I can take a shower now. And then they get to this place where you go and you drop them off with their little book bag at school, and you watch them walk in and they're like, bye, Mom. And you're like, okay, now what? It's all this change that we have to endure, and we have to walk through, and we have to know that it's normal as much as it doesn't feel good, right? Nothing stays stagnant. Everything is constantly changing. I mean, if you live in the Northeast, I can even see down here in South Florida. I mean, it hasn't gotten any cooler yet, but you can see things changing. And especially in the Northeast, I remember like being in the fall, and you could see that one, like that wind would come and it would be cooler, and all of a sudden leaves would start to drop, and you're like, oh my gosh, here it comes, here it comes. And then before you know it, it's going to be Halloween, and it could be snowing in certain places in the Northeast at Halloween. So it's always changing, always changing. That's the only thing I think that we can be like aware of, is that things are going to change. Now, because they change, we can have emotions and we can get emotional. And for me, as I talked about with my husband on the podcast a couple weeks ago, was like, I am a reactor. I react, and he goes inside, I go outside. And knowing that it is like, this is the way I'm going to be. I feel uncomfortable. My kids are leaving. They're going, it's a total change. I don't like change. It feels uncomfortable. And so many people, nobody likes change. I don't think there's anybody in the world that really likes change. I think people like things to be where they like walk into the house. Do you know where this is and where that is and everything else? That feels good. Knowing you're going to drive to work and it's going to be the same route to work. You do it every day. You know that you're going to go sit at your desk and you're going to be with the same people in your office that you normally are with. And it becomes monotonous in some ways, but it's also comforting to know that I am in this place of just being, it feels comfortable. It feels comfortable not to have change. But if we have a life and if we have people around us, relationships, human beings around us, it's going to be constantly changing, constantly. People get married, people die, people get sick, people have babies, people, just stuff happens all the time. And especially in this world right now, we have so many things going on, so much light shining here and there and there and there, and then dark stuff happening all over the place. Like that school shooting last week was terrible. I was so immersed in my dog that I didn't even embrace it until this weekend, with the severity of what had happened. And I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh my gosh, it's become like we're all so used to it now that it's like, oh, there's another school shooting. Okay, well, what am I going to say? It's not like that big of a deal. But in reality, it's such a big deal. When I was growing up, there were no school shootings. I mean, the first one was either Columbine or Parkland here in Florida. And that was like rocked everybody's world. And here we are years later, and they're still happening. And mental illness is where mental illness is in our country, which is really, really bad. And just to bring in one of my guests this past month, I had on Dave Ehrenberg, who wrote the book, The Florida Shuffle. And he came on because I heard him talk on Megyn Kelly's podcast, and I'd seen what's going on here in South Florida in treatment, and it's so bad. And they have not only, people addicted to drugs and alcohol, but they have mentally ill people, and they're all mixed together. And it's a mess. It's all a mess. And what are we going to do? I don't know. I'm like just bringing awareness to it. I'd love to run for office maybe one day, but I need a lot of money to do that, and I don't have it. So that's not happening today. But I would like to make a difference. And, this change around us, the loss of Penelope, fall, all these things around us are uncontrollable. We're powerless over them. I didn't really understand powerlessness until 19 years ago when I surrendered and I joined a 12-step program, and I learned what that meant. I always thought I had power, right? I think as we're kids, we think we're all this power. We can make things happen. I've got power to do some power to do that. But in reality, nobody has really any power over anything, right? You have power over whether you're going to brush your teeth, what you're going to put into your mouth, but outcomes, no, we have no power at all. God's the only one that has power. And we think we have power because society might tell us that if you go buy this, you're going to feel great for a second. But the change that's going on inside of so many of us, and the depression that's going on inside of so many of us right now, and the isolation, and the fact that we don't have the community and we don't have the families we grew up with, is really hard, right? It's really hard. Being an empty nester, having estrangement in my family is very difficult. But I can't control it. That's the biggest thing. I cannot control it as much as I want to, as much as I want to say, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And I'm going to come and be the director and I'm going to be in charge of the show. I'm not in charge of the show. And I don't think any of us are. I think back in the day, there was such a respect for the elderly that they could control everything. It was like, okay, we respect our parents. We're going to do what they say. That's gone out the window. That's a big change, right? That's a huge change. I was born in 1968. Did I think my kids that were born in the 90s were going to have this kind of reaction? No, I didn't. Did I love them too much? Did I give them too much? I don't know. Maybe I did. I can't go back and change that either. All I can do is take care of me. And that's something else I read in this book was like, we have to take care of ourselves. And that doesn't mean overindulge or going shopping, because I've tried all those things and they don't work. It's really embracing what you want to do, who you want to be, because for so long we're taking care of everybody else, right? We take care of our kids, we take care of our spouse, we take care of our pets, we take care of maybe our parents, we take care of our siblings, we take care of all these people. And it wasn't until we would get on a plane, maybe, where we would hear, whoa, you have to put the oxygen mask on you first. Now, mom's out there, you have to put it on you first. And we'd be like, what are you talking about? My kids come first. So when this empty nest happens, or everybody goes off to school and you're sitting there and you're going, what should I do? Do I need to go do the laundry? Do I need to go clean the kitchen? Do I have to go do for my kids? What if you took an hour, no matter what, and did something for you? Maybe as simple as going for a walk, going and get your nails done, calling a girlfriend, go to lunch with somebody, go grab coffee with somebody. Do something for you. Maybe take a course. I wish I'd done that for a long time. And I've been taking more and more courses all the time. I love taking courses and learning and trying to educate myself more. I mean, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was check that off my list too. Like, I want to be done with high school. I want to be done with college. I don't really care. I just want to get through with this. I just want to check it off my list. And now, sitting here at almost 57, I just want to learn more. I'm like, I don't know anything. I need to go back and learn more and more. And I was talking to one of my oldest friends yesterday, and she was saying the same thing. It's like, all we want to do is learn. And we don't take time when our kids are little, because we're like, we can't do that. There's not enough time for me to even take a shower. But there won't be time unless you make the time. You make yourself a priority, whatever that looks like. If it's going on a walk, if it's calling a girlfriend, if it's saying, you know what, the laundry's never going to be finished. I'm just going to tell you, the vacuuming's never going to be done. It just isn't. The dishes are constantly going to be getting dirty. So accept it and enjoy the ride and do something vulnerable. Like, change that. All of us spend so much time as a society. I heard somewhere, I think I was listening to Hallow, and they said we spend 44 years of our life, if you add it all up, looking at screens and what other people are doing. Can you believe that? And I think it's true. If you work on a computer, you're on that for 8 hours a day. Then you go home and you get on a screen again to watch TV, or you're watching social media, other people's lives. You're on YouTube. That's all we do. We've put this, like watching Netflix series and getting addicted to that, and just like, I can't go to bed because I can't stop watching it. Okay, that happens to me all the time. And realizing I sometimes have to turn it all off. And I have to go for a walk and I have to talk to somebody. And I have to be in the moment. And change is inevitable. I have to accept that. I have to accept that I am powerless over everything that's going on in my life. I don't know what any outcome is going to be. I'm not going to tell you I work on the boardwalk and I can tell you my fortune, which people do, but no one's going to really tell you anything. You just have to accept you have no idea what's going to happen, besides that we're all going to die one day. That's the only thing we know. Beyond that, it's always changing. So either you hold on tight and you enjoy the good times, and sometimes you have to make that joy for yourself. You can't get it from anybody else. Joy sometimes comes from you. Nobody's happy all of the time. They might look like it on the Instagram story that lasts a minute, but in reality, everybody goes through the highs and the lows. Everybody has to deal with change. Again, nothing stays stagnant. everything, just like the continental shelf below us, right? Below the earth. It shifts, it moves. Sometimes it's big. Sometimes we don't even feel it. We just have to enjoy it. Hold on tight and say, this isn't going to last forever. Nothing is. The darkness isn't going to last forever, and neither is the light. It's how you balance everything and make sure that you're not always, you don't have to be on a plane to put that oxygen mask on. You can do it every day. What is that oxygen mask for you? Is it a painting class? Is it going and taking something you've always been interested in, doing a class online? Whatever that is, take the opportunity to take care of you and realize, yes, there's changes around us right now. And guess what? They always will be. So I enjoy, love big, hug big, realize this too shall pass. And you can always watch me on my YouTube channel if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, podcasts, wherever you're listening to it. But if you do me a big favor and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. I would love it if you would subscribe. If you want to get my newsletter, which comes out every Friday, go to elizabethchance.com and you'll be prompted if you want to get the newsletter into your inbox. It'll come right to your inbox. And if you have any topics you'd want me to cover that I haven't covered yet, or you want to hear more about, reach out to me at elizabethchance.com. And Elizabeth with the Z, ELIZABETH at elizabethchance.com. And that's all I have for today. Enjoy this first day of official fall. If your kids are going back to school, enjoy this day and do something for you. And I'm sending you guys big hugs. Thanks for listening. And I will be back on Thursday. Until then, take care. Thanks for listening. And please subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. Or if you're watching me on YouTube, press subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.